My stepdaughter announced her absent father would walk her down the aisle at our Sunday dinner after cutting all 20 of my guests. From the 250-person wedding, I'd already paid $30,000 toward and removing my name from the announcements, so I stood up and resigned as host. That was 6 months ago. She still wears her unworn $8,000 wedding dress to sit outside the venue that gave away her date. My stepdaughter is getting married on August 3rd. Planning the wedding has taken over her and her mom's lives for the last 6 months. My stepdaughter finished college last December. I paid for her to go to college. Though it was a state school, it still ran $40K. She does not have a job and has been living with us for the duration of her college career and since her graduation. I also bought her a car to return from school when she finished high school. From time to time, her deadbeat father would pop into her lie and she would fawn all over him. Although he has not contributed a cent to her education or paid any child support, though that is my girlfriend's fault. As child support was not part of the settlement, she still loves him and wants him in her life. He stays long enough to break her heart by skipping town and breaking some promise that he made her. The wedding venue holds 250 people max. I gave them a list of 20 people I wanted invited, since I was paying for everything. They told me that it was no problem and they'd take care of it. So I let these people know they'd be getting an invite and they should save the date. Saturday, I saw one of my friends on this list at the golf course and asked if he was coming. He told me that he wasn't invited. He told me that he got an announcement, but not an invitation. He had it in his back seat and showed it to me. Sure enough, it was just an announcement, and my name was nowhere on it. It had her dad's name and her mom's name and not mine. This led to a pretty big fight with my girlfriend, as I found out that none of my list of 20 cut for the final guest list because 250 people is very tight. I was mad, but not a hell of a lot I could do because the important people in my life had already been offended. My girlfriend said, if some people didn't RSVP, yes, I might be able to get a couple of people in, but that is an ultimate slap in the face in my opinion. So, I was boiling on Saturday. Yesterday, we had a Sunday dinner with the future in-laws family and us, and a surprise guest, the real dad. At this little dinner, my stepdaughter announced that her real dad was going to be able to make it to her wedding, and that now he'd be able to give her away. This was greeted with a chorus of, "Oh, how great," and "how wonderfuls." I don't think I have ever felt so angry and so disrespected. I was shaking. I took a few seconds to gather my composure, because I honestly wasn't sure if I would cry or start throwing punches or both. Once I was sure I'd be able to speak, I got up from my chair and said I'd like to make a toast. I can't remember exactly what Isaida said, but the gist of it was this: I'd like to make a toast. It has been my great pleasure to be a part of this family for the past 10 years. At this point in my life, I feel I owe a debt of gratitude to the bride and groom, because they have opened my eyes to something very important. Confident smiles were exchanged. They have shown me that my position in this family is not what I once thought it was. And now a glimmer of confusion and shock begins to spread on the faces in the room. Though I once thought of myself as the patriarch or godfather of the family, commanding great respect and sought out for help in times of need, it seems instead that I hold the position of an ATM, good for a stream of money, but not much else. As I have been replaced as host, both on the invitations and in the ceremony, I am resigning my financial duties as host to my successor, real dad. So, cheers to the happy couple and the path they have chosen. I finished my drink. You all can let yourselves out. I walked upstairs to my bedroom, leaving behind the stunned silence. My hands were still shaking as I grabbed my overnight bag from the closet. I threw in some clothes, not really paying attention to what I was packing. The sound of raised voices drifted up from downstairs, but I couldn't make out the words. I didn't care. My phone started buzzing immediately. Linda's name flashed on the screen. I declined the call. It rang again. Sarah this time. I declined that one too. Then the texts started flooding in. I turned the phone to silent and shoved it in my pocket. I heard footsteps on the stairs, multiple sets. They were coming up fast. I zipped the bag and headed for the bedroom door, but Linda burst through before I could reach it. Her face was red, mascara running down her cheeks. "What the hell was that?" she screamed. Sarah appeared behind her, along with Derek. The sight of him in my bedroom made my jaw clench. "That was me being honest," I said, shouldering past them toward the stairs. Linda grabbed my arm. "You can't just leave. We have guests." I yanked my arm free. "They're your guests, not mine. Remember? I didn't make the cut." "Ian, please," Sarah said, her voice small. "I didn't mean to hurt you." I stopped at the top of the stairs and turned to face her. "You announced that your real dad would walk you down the aisle at the wedding I'm paying for, in front of everyone, after I raised you for 10 years. But he's my father," she said, tears welling up. "And what am I?" I asked. "The guy who pays the bills?" Derek stepped forward, puffing out his chest. "Hey man, you don't need to be like this. She's just a kid who wants her dad at her wedding." I looked at him, really looked at him for the first time in years. His clothes were wrinkled, probably slept in. He had that same charming smile that always worked on Sarah. The same smile he wore when he promised to take her to Disney World when she was 14, when he promised to help with her college applications, when he promised to be there for her graduation. "You're right," I said to Derek. "She wants her dad at her wedding, so you can pay for it." His smile faltered. "Come on, man. You know I'm between jobs right now." "You've been between jobs for 10 years. I continued down the stairs. They followed me, all three of them talking at once. Linda was alternating between anger and pleading. Sarah was crying. Derek was trying to play peacemaker, which was rich coming from the guy who disrupted every bit of peace in this family. The in-laws were still in the dining room, looking uncomfortable. Sarah's fiancé, Mark, stood up when he saw me. "Ian, I'm sorry about— It's not your fault, Mark," I said. "You seem like a good kid. Good luck." I headed for the garage. Linda caught up with me at my car. "You can't do this," she said. "The wedding is in 6 weeks. Everything is booked. The deposits are non-refundable." "That's Derek's problem now," I said, tossing my bag in the back seat. "He doesn't have any money. You know that. Then maybe you should have thought about that before you cut every single person I care about from the guest list, before you put his name on the announcements instead of mine, before you let Sarah announce he'd walk her down the aisle without even discussing it with me. She's emotional about her father. You know how she gets." "I've been her father for 10 years, I said. "I taught her to drive. I helped with her homework. I was there for every school play, every soccer game, every heartbreak. Where was Derek?" Linda didn't answer. We both knew where Derek had been. Nowhere. "The credit cards I gave you and Sarah are in both our names," I said. "I'll be canceling them tomorrow. The wedding vendors have your contact information, so they'll be calling you for the remaining balances." "Ian, please, let's go inside and talk about this. We've been talking for 10 years, I said. "I'm done talking." I got in my car and backed out of the garage. In my rearview mirror, I could see them all standing in the driveway. Sarah was sobbing into Derek's shoulder. He looked lost, probably calculating how much this was going to cost him. Linda stood with her arms crossed, still in shock. I drove to a hotel downtown and checked in for the week. My phone had over 50 missed calls and twice as many texts by the time I plugged it in to charge. I scrolled through some of them. "Linda, this is ridiculous. Come home." Sarah, "I'm sorry I hurt you, but you're overreacting." Linda, "The caterer needs the final payment by Tuesday." Sarah, "Mom says you're being petty." Linda, "Your friends are asking where you went." Derek, "Hey buddy, let's grab a beer and talk this out." I almost laughed at that last one. Derek wanting to grab a beer, with my money no doubt. I ordered room service and opened my laptop. First, I scheduled appointments with my lawyer and accountant for Monday morning. Then I started looking at apartments. Linda and I had never married, which I was grateful for now, but we'd been together long enough that untangling our finances would be complicated. The house was in my name, purchased before I met Linda, but I'd let them treat it as their home for so long. I knew it would be a fight to get them out. Still, it was my house, my name on the deed, my mortgage payments for 15 years. Around midnight, my phone rang again. This time it was Mark, Sarah's fiancé. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. "Ian, it's Mark. I'm sorry to call so late." "It's fine. I'm up. I just wanted to say, what happened tonight wasn't right. I didn't know about the guest list thing, or about Derek walking her down the aisle. She told me you were okay with it. I wasn't." "I figured that out," he said. There was a pause. "My parents are pretty upset. They think the whole thing was disrespectful. Your parents seem like good people." "They are. They actually left right after you did. Said they needed to think about some things." "Interesting. The Carlsons were old money, very traditional. They probably weren't thrilled about the drama." "Ian, can I ask you something?" Mark said. "Sure. Are you really not going to pay for the wedding?" "I'm really not." "What if Sarah apologizes? What if she asks you to walk her down the aisle with Derek?" "With Derek?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Mark, I've spent 10 years being second place to a man who abandons her over and over. I'm done competing for a position in my own family." "I get it," he said quietly. "I really do. My dad, he said something tonight after we left. He said a man who doesn't appreciate the people who show up for him doesn't deserve them. Your dad's a smart man." "Yeah, listen, I should go. Sarah's pretty upset." I imagine she is. First time in her life someone's told her no and meant it. Monday morning came quickly. I met with my lawyer first. Since Linda and I weren't married, I had more options than I'd thought. The house was mine, the cars I'd bought were in my name, and most of the bank accounts were individual, not joint. We'd only combined finances for household expenses. "You'll need to give them 30 days notice to vacate," my lawyer said. "It's standard for tenants. They're not paying rent. Doesn't matter. They've established residency. But after 30 days, if they don't leave voluntarily, we can start eviction proceedings." I nodded. "Draw up the notice." Next was my accountant. That meeting was less encouraging. I'd been hemorrhaging money for years without really noticing. Private school for Sarah when she was younger. The car, college tuition, living expenses. The wedding preparations had already cost me $30,000, with another $40 expected before the big day. "You're not broke," my accountant said, "but you've been living like you have 2 incomes when you only have 1. If you separate households, you'll need to adjust your spending." "That won't be a problem," I said. "I'll be adjusting a lot of things." I found an apartment that afternoon. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. 2 bedrooms, nice view, walking distance to my office. The lease started in 2 weeks, which would give me time to sort through what I wanted to take from the house. By Tuesday, the calls had shifted from angry to desperate. Linda left a voicemail saying the venue wanted their payment. Sarah texted that the florist was threatening to cancel. I didn't respond to any of it. Wednesday, Derek called again. "Ian, buddy, this is getting out of hand. Sarah's a mess. Linda's freaking out. Just come home and we'll work this out." I almost didn't call back, but something made me dial his number. Derek. "Ian, hey man, thanks for calling back. Listen." "No, you listen," I said. "I'm done. Done paying for your daughter while you play daddy when it's convenient. Done watching her heart break every time you disappear. Done pretending we're one big happy family. That's not fair, man. I've been trying." "Trying? When? When you missed her high school graduation because you were in Vegas? When you promised to help her move into college but never showed? When you said you'd contribute to her education but never sent a dime? I've had some tough breaks. For 10 years? You've had tough breaks for 10 years? He was quiet for a moment. "Look, I know I haven't been perfect. Perfect? Derek, you haven't been present. There's a difference. So what? You're going to punish Sarah because you're mad at me? I'm not punishing anyone. I'm just done subsidizing your relationship with your daughter. You want to walk her down the aisle? Great. You can pay for the aisle too. You know I can't afford that. Then maybe you should have thought about that before you agreed to play father of the bride. I hung up. Thursday brought a new development. Mark called again, this time with news. My parents are reconsidering their financial contribution to the wedding, he said. They're not comfortable with how your family treated you. Mark, that's between you and your parents. And Sarah. I know. I just thought you should know. They really respect you, Ian. My dad said any man who'd raise another man's child for 10 years and pay for everything deserves better than what happened Sunday. I appreciate that. There's something else, he said. Sarah and her mom went to the venue today to try to negotiate. The venue told them without the deposit by tomorrow, they're releasing the date. Okay. Sarah asked if my parents would cover it. They said no. I wasn't surprised. The Carlsons had old-fashioned values about these things. The bride's family paid for the wedding. If the bride's family couldn't pay, then maybe the wedding needed to be scaled back. She's talking about taking out a loan, Mark continued. That's her choice. Ian, I don't think I want her to. Now that was surprising. Oh, I've been thinking a lot since Sunday. About family, about respect, about the kind of marriage I want, and I'm not sure starting our life together with a massive loan for a party is the right move. That's very mature of you. My parents suggested we scale back, do something small, maybe just immediate family. Sounds reasonable. Sarah's not taking it well. I imagine not. She keeps saying you'll come around, that you always do. Not this time. I know. I think that's what scares her. Friday morning, I got a call from my lawyer. Linda had been served with the 30-day notice. She'd apparently broken down crying in front of the process server. An hour later, she was at my office. You can't kick us out, she said, barging past my assistant. That's Sarah's home. She grew up there. No, she didn't, I said. She was 13 when you moved in, and it's my house. We're a family, are we? Because last I checked, families include each other. Families respect each other. Families don't treat each other like ATMs. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. For the first time in 10 years, I'm being honest about what this relationship really is. She sank into the chair across from my desk. What do you want? An apology? Fine. I'm sorry. Sarah's sorry. We're all sorry. I don't want anything, I said. That's the point. I'm done wanting things from people who don't want to give them. So that's it? 10 years and you're just walking away? You walked away first, I said. Every time you chose Derek over me. Every time you let Sarah disrespect me. Every time you treated my contributions as expected while treating his absence as acceptable. He's her father. So was I. The only difference is I showed up. She left in tears, but I noticed she didn't argue that last point. The weekend was quiet. I looked at furniture for the new apartment, went to the gym, caught up on work. It was strange how peaceful life could be when you weren't constantly managing other people's drama. Sunday afternoon, exactly 1 week after the dinner, Sarah showed up at my hotel. The front desk called to ask if I wanted to see her. I almost said no, but decided to hear her out. She looked terrible. Her eyes were puffy, her usually perfect hair unwashed. She sat across from me in the hotel restaurant, fidgeting with her engagement ring. The venue canceled, she said without preamble. They gave our date to someone else. I'm sorry to hear that. No, you're not. You're right, I'm not. She looked up at me then, really looked at me for the first time in years. Do you hate me? No, Sarah, I don't hate you. I'm just done enabling you. Enabling me? You make it sound like I'm some kind of addict. Aren't you? Addicted to your father's approval? Addicted to the fantasy that one day he'll be the dad you want him to be? Her face crumpled. That's not fair. Neither is expecting me to fund your fantasy while treating me like hired help. I never treated you like hired help. Really? When's the last time you introduced me as your dad? When's the last time you included me in a decision about your life? When's the last time you considered my feelings about anything? She was crying now, but I noticed she didn't answer any of my questions. I was 18 when Derek came back the first time after you and Mom got together, she said finally. He said he was sorry, said he wanted to make up for lost time. I remember. You were so angry. I was worried. I knew he'd hurt you again, but I needed to try. He's my dad. I know, and I supported that. I supported it every time he came back, every time he left, every time you cried, every time your mom made excuses for him. I supported all of it. But supporting you doesn't mean I have to pay for the privilege of being excluded from your life. You're not excluded. Sarah, you literally excluded every single person I wanted to invite to your wedding. You put Derek's name on the announcements instead of mine. You announced he'd walk you down the aisle without even asking how I felt about it. If that's not exclusion, what is? She wiped her eyes with a napkin. Mark's parents are pulling their money too. I heard. They said it's because of how we treated you. The Carlsons are good people. Mark wants to postpone the wedding. Maybe do something smaller next year. That sounds wise. I don't want to wait. I've been dreaming about my wedding since I was little. Then pay for it yourself. With what money? I don't have a job. Then get one. It's not that easy. It's not supposed to be easy. That's the point. Things have value because we work for them. You've never had to work for anything because I made it easy. I paid for everything. I solved every problem. I made every dream come true. And what did it get me? A seat at the back of your wedding, if I was lucky. She stared at her hands. Derek can't help. He doesn't have any money. I know. He never has money. I know that too. He called me yesterday, said he had to go out of town for a job opportunity. Doesn't know when he'll be back. There it was, the pattern repeating itself. Derek making promises he couldn't keep, then disappearing when things got hard. I'm sorry, Sarah. Are you? Yes. I'm sorry you're hurting. I'm sorry Derek is who he is. I'm sorry you had to learn this lesson this way. But I'm not sorry for standing up for myself. So what am I supposed to do now? Whatever you want. Get a job, plan a wedding you can afford, build a life with Mark, or don't. But whatever you do, it won't be on my dime anymore. She stood up to leave, then turned back. For what it's worth, you were a good dad, better than I deserved. No, Sarah, I was exactly the dad you deserved. The problem is, I was also the dad you took for granted. She left, without another word. The next few weeks passed in a blur of lawyers, movers, and real estate agents. Linda fought the eviction at first, but when she realized I was serious, she found an apartment, a smaller one, in a less expensive neighborhood. Derek was nowhere to be found, of course. I moved into my new place on a Thursday. It was strange, being alone after so many years, but it was a good strange. Peaceful, quiet, mine. That night, I got a text from Mark, just 2 words, thank you. I wasn't sure what he was thanking me for, but I had a feeling he'd figured some things out about the family he was marrying into. 3 months later, I got a wedding announcement in the mail, not an invitation, just an announcement. Sarah and Mark had gotten married at the courthouse. Linda was her witness. Derek wasn't mentioned. I stared at the announcement for a long time, then threw it in the trash. Some bridges, once burned, weren't meant to be rebuilt, but I kept the photo that came with it. Not because I wanted to remember the wedding, but because in it, Sarah looked happy, really happy. Not the fake, performative happiness she wore when Derek was around, but genuine joy. Maybe losing the fantasy of the perfect wedding had helped her find something real. Maybe having to stand on her own feet had taught her their value. Maybe watching her real dad disappear again had finally shown her who'd been there all along. Or maybe not. Maybe she'd learned nothing. Maybe she still believed Derek would come through someday. Maybe she still saw me as the villain who ruined her dreams. Either way, it wasn't my problem anymore. I was done being the understudy in my own life, waiting in the wings while someone else played the leading role. I was done paying for a show I wasn't even allowed to watch from the good seats. I was done, and for the first time in 10 years, I was free. The freedom lasted exactly 3 days. Monday morning, I arrived at my office to find Linda waiting in the lobby. She'd dressed carefully. The navy suit I'd bought her for her last job interview, the pearls I'd given her for Christmas. Even her makeup was perfect, a stark contrast to the tear-streaked face I'd last seen. "We need to talk," she said, standing as I approached. "We don't," I replied, walking past her toward the elevators. She followed. "Ian, please, just 5 minutes." My assistant Victoria looked up from her desk as we entered. I'd briefed her about the situation, and she immediately stood. "Should I call security?" "That won't be necessary," I said. Linda was just leaving. "I'm pregnant," Linda blurted out. I stopped. Victoria's eyes widened. Linda stood there, hands clasped in front of her, watching my face. "Congratulations," I said finally. "I'm sure Derek will be thrilled." Her face flushed. "It's yours." "No," I said. "It's not. Ian, I'm 2 months along. We were together 2 months ago. We were together. We were also careful. You're on birth control. Birth control fails sometimes. So do lies." I turned to Victoria. "Please show Ms. Lee out. You can't just dismiss this." Linda's carefully composed facade cracked. "I have proof. I have the test results right here." She fumbled in her purse, pulling out papers. I didn't look at them. "Even if you are pregnant, which I doubt, it's not mine. We haven't been intimate in months." "That's not true. What about the night of Sarah's graduation party?" I thought back. The graduation party had been in May. We'd both had too much champagne, ended up in bed together for the first time in weeks. But that was over 3 months ago, not 2. "That was in May," I said. "It's August. Do the math." Her face went pale. She'd been caught in her lie and we both knew it. I might have been wrong about the dates. "Get out," I said. "And don't come back. Any further communication goes through my lawyer." She left, but I knew this wasn't over. Linda didn't give up easily, especially when money was involved. That afternoon, my lawyer called. "She's claiming you've been hiding assets. Says you have offshore accounts, unreported income. She wants a full financial disclosure." "She's fishing," I said. "She knows I've cut her off and she's desperate." "I know, but she's also claiming common law marriage. Says you've been presenting yourselves as married for 10 years. We've never filed joint taxes, never had a ceremony. I've never introduced her as my wife." "I know, it won't hold up, but she can make things difficult, expensive. Let her try." Tuesday brought a new surprise. I got a call from my bank about suspicious activity on one of my business accounts. Someone had tried to wire $50,000 to an account in Derek's name. "We flagged it as potential fraud," the manager said. "The authorization looked legitimate, but the amount was unusual." "It's fraud," I confirmed. "Lock down all my accounts. I'll be there in 20 minutes. It turned out Linda still had copies of old authorization forms from when she'd helped with my business bookkeeping years ago. She tried to forge my signature on a wire transfer. The bank had security footage of her at the branch. "Do you want to press charges?" the manager asked. I thought about it. Part of me wanted to say yes, but I knew it would complicate things. "Not yet, but document everything." Wednesday, Sarah called. Her number had been blocked, but she'd borrowed Mark's phone. "Mom's losing it," she said without preamble. "She tried to break into the house yesterday. The neighbors called the police." "That's not my problem." "Ian, please. She's talking crazy. Saying you owe her for 10 years of her life. Saying she'll make you pay." "Sarah, your mother is a grown woman. Her choices are her own. She's been calling Derek nonstop, begging him to come back. He won't answer." "Of course he wouldn't. Derek always disappeared when things got complicated." "She needs help," Sarah continued. "Maybe therapy or..." "Then help her," I said. "You're her daughter. That's your job now." "I don't know how. I've never had to. You always handled everything. And look where that got me." "I know you're angry." "I'm not angry, Sarah. I'm done. There's a difference." I hung up. Thursday morning, I woke up to find my car vandalized. All 4 tires slashed, a-hole, keyed into the driver's side door. The security cameras in my building's garage had conveniently malfunctioned that night. I filed a police report, knowing nothing would come of it. The officer taking the report looked tired. Domestic situation? He asked. Ex-girlfriend, I confirmed. They always escalate when the money gets cut off, he said. You might want to consider a restraining order. I took his advice. My lawyer filed the paperwork that afternoon. Linda would be served within 48 hours. Friday, things got worse. I arrived at work to find my office in chaos. Several clients were in the waiting room, all demanding to speak with me immediately. What's going on? I asked Victoria. She looked shaken. Someone sent emails from your account last night. Horrible emails. Prejudiced, sexist stuff. Things you'd never say. They went to your entire client list. My stomach dropped. I spent the next 6 hours in damage control mode, calling clients, explaining the situation. Most were understanding. They knew me well enough to know I'd never write such things. But a few were skeptical. One major client pulled their account. I want to believe you, Ian, he said, but I can't risk my company's reputation. The IT investigation showed the emails had been sent from my home IP address. Someone had hacked into my home network, or someone had access to my apartment. I changed all my locks that night, changed every password, installed new security cameras, but the damage was done. Word spreads fast in business circles. By the end of the day, I'd lost 3 more clients. Saturday morning, my phone rang at 6 a.m. Unknown number. You think you're so smart? Linda's voice was slurred, hammered or high, I couldn't tell. Think you can just throw us away like garbage? Linda, shut up. You ruined everything. The wedding, Sarah's dreams, my life, everything. You ruined it yourself. I gave you 10 years of my life, and this is how you repay me? You lived rent-free in my house for 10 years. Sarah's education was paid for. Every bill, every expense, every luxury. Don't talk to me about repayment. You owe me, and you're going to pay, one way or another. She hung up. I saved the recording. My phone automatically recorded all calls from unknown numbers now. Evidence for the restraining order. An hour later, Derek called. Dude, you need to do something about Linda. She's going crazy. Suddenly she's my problem again? She showed up at my place at 3 a.m. screaming and crying. My roommates almost called the cops. They should have. Look, I know you're mad, but this is getting out of hand. She's talking about hiring someone to hurt you. I sat up straighter. What kind of someone? I don't know, man. She was hammered, not making sense, but she kept saying she knows people who can make you pay. Did you record any of this? What? No. Why would I? Of course he didn't. Derek never thought ahead. If she contacts you again, record everything. And maybe you should talk to the police. The police? Come on, man. She's just upset. She tried to steal $50,000 from my account. She vandalized my car. She's making threats. This isn't just upset, Derek. This is criminal. Poop. I didn't know about the money thing. There's a lot you don't know. You've been absent, remember? Yeah, well, I'm trying to stay out of it. Good luck with that. Sunday was quiet. Too quiet. I spent the day at my new apartment, organizing, trying to create some sense of normal, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was coming. Monday morning, it arrived. I walked into my office to find 2 men in suits waiting with Victoria. They stood when they saw me. Ian Morrison? The taller one asked. Yes, I'm Detective Barnes. This is Detective Rodriguez. We need to ask you some questions about Linda Lee. My heart sank. What's she done now? She hasn't done anything, Mr. Morrison. She's missing. The room tilted. Missing. Her daughter filed a report yesterday. Says she hasn't seen or heard from her mother since Friday night. Given the recent domestic situation, we need to ask where you were this weekend. I was at my apartment. Alone. Can anyone verify that? My building has security cameras. They exchanged glances. We'll need to see those, and we'll need you to come to the station. Am I under arrest? No, sir, but we'd appreciate your cooperation. I called my lawyer on the way to the station. He met me there, advised me to answer their questions honestly, but carefully. The interrogation lasted 3 hours. They wanted to know about the restraining order, the financial situation, the threats Linda had made. I told them everything, provided the recording of her call Saturday morning. She sounded intoxicated, Detective Barnes noted. Or high, I agreed. She's been escalating since I cut off financial support. Any idea where she might go? No, maybe Derek's place? He said she showed up there Friday night. We've already spoken to Mr. Reeves. He hasn't seen her since then. They finally let me go, but I could tell I wasn't off their radar. A wealthy businessman with a missing ex-girlfriend who'd been causing problems. I knew how it looked. Tuesday, the media got wind of the story. Local business owner questioned in disappearance, ran in the online edition of the paper. My phone exploded with calls, more clients expressing concern. My reputation, built over 20 years, crumbling in days. Sarah called that night, hysterical. This is your fault. If you hadn't kicked us out, if you hadn't cut her off, she'd be fine. Sarah, I know you're scared. You don't know anything. She's gone. The police think something happened to her. The police are investigating. They'll find her. What if she hurt herself? What if she's... Don't think like that. Your mom's a survivor. She's probably just taking some time to figure things out. You don't believe that. She was right. I didn't. Linda wasn't the type to disappear quietly. Everything she did was calculated for maximum impact. Wednesday brought another twist. The police called me back in. This time, they had questions about my business accounts. We've been looking into Ms. Lee's finances, Detective Rodriguez said. Seems she had access to significant funds until recently. She had access to credit cards I provided, all of which were canceled 2 weeks ago. What about this transfer? He slid a paper across the table. A wire transfer receipt for $100,000, dated last Monday, from one of my investment accounts to an offshore account. I didn't authorize this. Your signature's on it. I looked closer. It was a good forgery, better than the one the bank had caught. This is fraud. Check with the bank. They'll have security footage. We did. The transfer was done online, from your home IP address, using your credentials. My lawyer leaned forward. My client has already reported multiple instances of fraud and hacking. This is clearly part of a pattern of criminal behavior by Ms. Lee. Maybe, Barnes said. Or maybe Mr. Morrison transferred the money himself and is using Ms. Lee's disappearance to cover it up. That's ridiculous, I said. Is it? You cut her off financially. She threatens to expose you. You pay her off, then she disappears. Pretty convenient. If I was paying her off, why would I report the fraud? You didn't. The bank's automatic systems flagged it. You only confirmed it was fraud after we asked about it. I could see where this was going. Linda had set me up perfectly. Either she'd taken the money and vanished, making me look guilty, or something had actually happened to her, and I'd be the prime suspect. Thursday, Derek showed up at my office. Victoria tried to stop him, but he pushed past her. We need to talk, he said, closing my office door behind him. Get out before I call security. Linda's not missing. I froze. What? She called me last night, from a blocked number. Said she's fine, just needs time to think. Did you tell the police? No. Why not? He shifted uncomfortably. She said if I told anyone, she'd implicate me in the fraud. Implicate you how? The 100,000. Some of it was supposed to go to me. Payment for helping her. Helping her what? Frame you. There it was. The confession I needed. I reached for my phone to start recording, but Derek was faster. He grabbed it from my hand. No recordings. I'm not stupid. You're sitting in my office confessing to fraud. I'd say that's pretty stupid. I didn't go through with it. When she started talking about the pregnancy lie, the hacking, I backed out. But she'd already transferred the money. So where is she? I don't know. She wouldn't say. Just said she's got enough to start over somewhere else. And you believed her? Why would she lie? I laughed. Actually laughed. Are you serious? This is Linda we're talking about. She lies like she breathes. She sounded different, calm, like she'd already won. Because she has. She's got 100,000 of my money and I'm under investigation for her disappearance. Derek ran his hands through his hair. This is so messed up. I just wanted to walk Sarah down the aisle. I didn't sign up for this. No, you just signed up to take credit for raising her while I paid for everything. That's not, he sighed. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Get out, I said. And if you have any sense, you'll go to the police. Tell them everything. I can't. She'll destroy me. She's already destroying me. At least if you come forward, you might get immunity. He left, without another word. I immediately called my lawyer, told him everything. He advised me not to go to the police yet. It would look like I was making up stories to deflect suspicion. Friday morning, the police arrested me. They'd found blood in the trunk of my car. Linda's blood. Not much, but enough. They'd also found a witness who claimed to have seen me arguing with Linda in the parking garage of her new apartment building on Friday night. I wasn't there, I insisted. Check my building security footage. We did, Barnes said. You left at 7:47 p.m., returned at 11:23 p.m. Plenty of time to drive to Ms. Lee's apartment. I went to dinner, alone. The restaurant will have cameras. Which restaurant? I gave them the name. They'd check, of course, but I'd paid cash, eaten at the bar. Would anyone remember me? My lawyer got me released on bail, but the damage was escalating. The arrest made the evening news. My remaining clients fled like rats from a sinking ship. 20 years of building my business, gone in a week. Saturday, I hired a private investigator. If the police wouldn't look for Linda properly, I'd find her myself. She's smart, the PI, a former cop named Mitchell, said after reviewing everything. This wasn't spontaneous. She's been planning this. For how long? Based on the sophistication? Months? Maybe longer? The pregnancy story was probably plan A. When that failed, she moved to plan B, which was destroy you and disappear with as much money as possible. So she's alive? Oh, definitely. This is too well orchestrated. The blood in your car? Probably self-inflicted, just enough to implicate you. The witness? Paid off or mistaken. The money trail? Carefully designed to make you look guilty. Can you find her? Maybe, but it won't be cheap. And if she's smart, she's already out of the country. I told him to do whatever it took. Sunday brought Sarah back to my door. She looked worse than before. Thin, hollow-eyed, aged 10 years in 2 weeks. I know Mom's alive, she said without preamble. How? She used my credit card yesterday, the one you canceled. It was declined, but the charge showed up on my banking app. A hotel in Miami. My pulse quickened. Did you tell the police? No. Why not? Because I think she's doing this to hurt you, and I can't let her. Sarah, I know I've been awful to you. I know I chose Derek over you every time. I know I took you for granted, but you don't deserve this. What do you want me to do? Come with me, to Miami. Help me find her. Make her stop this. It was insane. I was out on bail, not supposed to leave the state. But if we could find Linda, get her to admit what she'd done. I can't leave. Bail conditions. Then tell me what to do, how to find her. I called Mitchell, gave him the hotel information. He said he'd have someone check it out immediately. Monday morning, Mitchell called with news. The hotel charge was a dead end. Linda had used Sarah's card to book a room but never showed up. Another misdirection. But he'd found something else. She's been in contact with someone named Sebastian Vega, Miami-based. Deals in fake IDs, helps people disappear. So she's trying to leave the country? Looks like it. But here's the interesting part. Vega's been asking around about you. Your business, your connections, your weaknesses. Why? Maybe Linda's not done with you yet. Maybe the frame job is just phase 1. That afternoon, my lawyer called with worse news. The police had found more evidence. Security footage from a gas station near Linda's apartment showing my car. They'd enhanced the image, could clearly see me in the driver's seat. That's impossible. I said. I wasn't there. The footage doesn't lie, Ian. We need to consider a plea deal. For something I didn't do? For something they think you did? That's what matters now. I fired him. Found another lawyer, one who actually believed in my innocence. But I was running out of money. The frozen accounts, the lost clients, the legal fees. Linda had orchestrated a perfect financial assassination. Tuesday, Derek surprised me again. He showed up at my apartment with a flash drive. I recorded her, he said. Sunday night, she called again. I plugged in the drive, heard Linda's voice, clear, calm, terrifying in its rationality. It's almost over, she was saying. Ian will be in prison soon. The business will be worthless. And then we can finally be together. Together? Derek's voice confused. Don't play dumb. This was always the plan. Get rid of Ian. Take everything. Start fresh. Just you, me, and Sarah. Linda, I never agreed to. You agreed the moment you walked back into our lives. The moment you let him pay for your daughter while you played daddy. You're as guilty as I am. You're crazy. I'm practical. Ian was useful for a while. Now he's not. Simple as that. The recording ended. Derek looked pale. She's lost it, he said. Completely lost it. No, I said. She's perfectly sane. This is who she always was. I just refuse to see it. We have to take this to the police. I'm not letting her destroy you. Or Sarah. Whatever else I am, I'm still Sarah's father. It was the first responsible thing I'd heard him say in 10 years. Wednesday, we went to the police together. Derek told them everything. The fraud, the threats, the recording. They listened, took notes, said they'd investigate. But I could see the skepticism in their eyes. A convenient recording appearing just when I needed it most? From the deadbeat dad who'd already admitted to considering fraud? It looked like another desperate attempt to deflect blame. Thursday, everything accelerated. The police executed a search warrant on my apartment. They found Linda's jewelry in my closet, pieces I'd never seen before, reported stolen from her apartment after she disappeared. Someone planted those, I insisted. Who has access to your apartment? Barnes asked. Only 3 people had keys. Me, the building super, and the cleaning service. But Linda had lived with me for years. She could have made copies. They arrested me again. This time, bail was denied. The judge deemed me a flight risk given my resources and the new evidence. I spent Thursday night in jail, my mind racing. Linda had played this perfectly. Even with Derek's recording, I looked guilty. The blood, the jewelry, the money, it all pointed to me. Friday morning, my new lawyer visited with unexpected news. Sarah found something, he said, in her mother's things, a storage unit key. And? The unit's full of documents, plans, schedules, copies of your passwords, and something else. A sewer slide note. My blood ran cold. What? Dated for next week, blaming you for driving her to it. She was planning to fake her death, make it look like you unalived her, but she moved too fast. The arrest happened before she could plant the note. Exactly. And there's more. She had tickets booked. Miami to Costa Rica, under a fake name. Can we prove it's her? The ID photos are in the unit. It's definitely her. Finally, real evidence. My lawyer rushed to present it to the prosecutors. By Friday afternoon, the charges were dropped, and I was released. But Linda was still missing. Saturday, Mitchell called with a lead. Vega's been spotted at a marina. Word is he's helping someone leave the country tonight. Boat to Cuba. It's her. Probably. Want me to call the cops? No, I want to see her. One last time. That's a bad idea. I don't care. I drove to the marina that night, found Vega's boat easily enough. A sleek speedboat designed for exactly this kind of midnight run. And there she was, Linda, standing on the dock, a single suitcase beside her. She'd dyed her hair, was wearing clothes I'd never seen, but it was definitely her. She saw me and smiled, not surprised, almost like she'd been expecting me. Hello, Ian. Linda. Come to say goodbye? Come to ask why? She laughed. Why? You really don't know? I loved you. I took care of you and Sarah for 10 years. Exactly. You took care of us. Like pets. Like possessions. Never partners. Never equals. I gave you everything. You gave us what you thought we needed. Never asked what we wanted. You wanted my money. That's all you ever wanted. No, I wanted respect. Recognition. To be more than just your kept woman. So you decided to destroy me? I decided to take what I was owed. 10 years of my life, Ian. 10 years of playing house. Of pretending to be grateful. Of watching you play hero while treating me like the help. You introduced me as your girlfriend. Never your partner. Never your equal. Just your girlfriend. Like I was temporary. Replaceable. We weren't married. Because you never asked. 10 years and you never even proposed. You could have asked. And begged for the privilege? No thanks. Vega appeared on the boat deck. We need to go. Linda picked up her suitcase. Goodbye, Ian. Enjoy what's left of your life. The police know about the boat. They'll stop you. She smiled. No, they won't. Because you're not going to tell them. Why wouldn't I? Because if you do, I'll make sure Sarah knows the truth. About her college fund. About where the money really came from. I froze. What are you talking about? The embezzlement, Ian. From your clients. Oh, you hid it well. Moved it around. Made it look legitimate. But I kept records. Everything's in a safety deposit box. If I don't check in every month, it all goes to the FBI. You're lying. Am I? Can you risk it? She was bluffing. Had to be. I'd never stolen from clients. But looking at her face, that calm certainty, I wondered what else she'd fabricated. What other evidence she'd planted. Goodbye, Ian, she said again, stepping onto the boat. I stood there, watching as they pulled away from the dock. Watched until the boat disappeared into the darkness. I could have called the police, could have tried to stop her, but I didn't. Because maybe she was right. Maybe I had treated her like a possession. Maybe I had been so focused on being the provider, the hero, that I'd forgotten to be a partner. Or maybe she was just a master manipulator who'd played the long game and won. Either way, she was gone. I drove home in silence, Found Sarah waiting in my apartment lobby. Did you find her? She asked. No, I lied. She's gone. Sarah started crying. I held her, this girl I'd raised but never really known. We stood there for a long time, two people Linda had left behind, trying to figure out what came next. Sunday morning, the police called. A boat matching Vega's description had been found drifting empty off the coast. No sign of passengers. Coast Guard was searching, but in those waters, at night, I hung up, numb. Had something gone wrong? Or was this another part of Linda's plan? My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Just 3 words. Check your mail. I went to my mailbox, found a single envelope. No return address. Inside, a photo of Linda on a beach somewhere, smiling at the camera. On the back, she'd written, "Thanks for the 100,000. Consider us even." So she was alive. The empty boat was just another misdirection. Vega probably had a second boat waiting, or a pickup point somewhere. I should have been angry. Should have felt betrayed, used, manipulated. Instead, I felt free. Linda was gone. Really gone. The charges had been dropped. My reputation was damaged but not destroyed. I could rebuild. I looked at the photo one more time, then tore it up. Let the pieces fall into the trash. It was over. I tore up the photo, but the pieces hadn't even hit the trash when my phone rang. "Mitchell, we've got a problem," he said. "The cops just raided Vega's office. Found documents with your name all over them." My stomach dropped. What kind of documents? Forged contracts, fake invoices, backdated emails, all designed to make it look like you've been laundering money through his operation for years. I sank onto my couch. Linda's final move. She wasn't just disappearing, she was ensuring I'd spend the rest of my life fighting criminal charges. How bad is it? Bad. They're building a RICO case. If this sticks, you're looking at 20 years minimum. I hung up and immediately called my lawyer. He confirmed Mitchell's assessment. The evidence was sophisticated, comprehensive. Without Linda to testify it was fake, I was in serious trouble. Tuesday morning, the FBI showed up at my apartment. Different agents, same questions. They'd connected the dots between Vega's operation and my business accounts. The 100,000 Linda stole was now being characterized as payment for money laundering services. "We know you've been working with Sebastian Vega for at least 3 years, the lead agent said, sliding photos across the table. Surveillance shots of me at locations I'd never been, meetings I'd never attended. Good forgeries, but forgeries nonetheless. "Those are fake," I said. "That's what they all say." My lawyer intervened. "My client has been the victim of an elaborate frame-up by his ex-girlfriend. We have evidence." "Your client's ex-girlfriend is presumed dead," the agent interrupted. Convenient how she can't contradict his story. They had me in custody for 12 hours before my lawyer got me released, but I could see the writing on the wall. Linda had won. Even from wherever she was hiding, she'd ensured my destruction. Wednesday, Sarah came to see me. She looked different, harder somehow. The naive girl who'd wanted her fantasy wedding was gone. "I know where Mom is," she said. I sat up straighter. "What?" "She's been contacting me, through encrypted apps. She thinks I'm on her side." "Are you?" Sarah's laugh was bitter. "She destroyed my life. Mark left me. His parents think I was in on the whole thing. I lost my job at the nonprofit before I even started because of the scandal. So no, I'm not on her side." "What does she want?" "She's been coaching me, telling me what to say to the police, how to make you look guilty. She says if I help her, she'll send me money once you're in prison. And I've been recording everything." My heart skipped. "Sarah, I know I owe you nothing after how I treated you, but this, what she's doing, it's evil, and I can't be part of it." She handed me a flash drive. Everything's on there. Her real location, the boat switch, how she faked the evidence, even details about where the money went. "Why are you doing this?" "Because for the first time in my life, I see her clearly. And I see you clearly too. You weren't perfect, but you tried. You showed up. That's more than either of my biological parents ever did." I took the drive, but I knew it might not be enough. "The FBI thinks she's dead. They won't believe, then we make them believe," Sarah said. "I'm supposed to video call her tomorrow. You can trace it, right? Find her exact location?" It was dangerous. If Linda suspected anything, she'd disappear completely, but it was our only shot. Thursday, we set the trap. Mitchell had brought in a tech specialist who could trace the call in real time. Sarah sat at my dining table, laptop open, while we waited in the next room. The call came at exactly 3 p.m. Linda appeared on screen, tanned and relaxed. Behind her, a window showed palm trees and ocean. "Hello, sweetheart," she said. "How are you holding up?" "It's hard," Sarah said, playing her part. "The police keep asking questions. Just stick to what I told you. Ian was abusive, controlling. You were scared of him. I was scared of him. That's why I had to disappear. But what if they find out you're alive?" Linda laughed. "They won't. I'm very good at disappearing. Your father taught me that." "Derek?" "No, sweetie. Your real father. The one before Derek." Sarah's face went pale. This was new information, even to her. Linda continued, oblivious to her daughter's shock. "He was a con artist. Best I ever met. Taught me everything. How to forge documents, create false identities, move money without traces. Too bad he got greedy and tried to con the wrong people. What happened to him? Let's just say he's not around anymore, but his lessons live on." Linda leaned closer to the camera. "Now, about Ian. The FBI should be building their case. Have they arrested him again? Not yet. They will. The evidence I planted is perfect. Even that stupid Derek couldn't mess it up, though he tried." "Is Derek with you?" Linda's face hardened. "Derek was weak. He actually felt guilty about framing Ian. Can you believe that? After everything Ian put us through? What did you do to Derek? Nothing he didn't deserve. He knew too much. Started making demands. Wanted a bigger cut. So I had to simplify things." Sarah's hands were shaking now. "Mom, did you hurt Derek? Don't be dramatic. He's fine. Probably. The amount of substances I slipped him, he won't remember his own name for a week. By then, I'll be long gone. Where are you going? Somewhere Ian's money will last a very long time. Did you know he had almost $500,000 in that investment account? He'd been skimming from his clients for years. That's not true, Sarah said, forgetting her role. Linda's eyes narrowed. What? Nothing. I knew Ian. He wouldn't steal. You didn't know him at all. None of us did. He was a master at playing the good guy while hiding his true nature. Like you're doing now? The words slipped out before Sarah could stop them. Linda's face went cold. What's going on, Sarah? You're acting strange. I'm just tired, Mom. This is all too much. Linda studied her daughter through the screen. You haven't told anyone about our calls, have you? Of course not. Good. Because if you did, I'd have to disappear for real, and you'd never see a penny of that money. I understand. I hope so. For your sake. Linda glanced at something off screen. I have to go. Remember what I told you. Ian is dangerous. Make sure everyone knows that. The call ended. Sarah slumped in her chair. Did you get it? I asked Mitchell's tech guy. He nodded. GPS coordinates put her in the Bahamas. Nassau, specifically. The Palm Royal Resort. We need to move fast, Mitchell said. If she suspects anything, she already does, Sarah interrupted. You saw her face. She knows something's off. She was right. Linda was too smart not to notice her daughter's slip. We had hours at most before she vanished again. I'm going after her, I said. You can't leave the country, my lawyer reminded me. Your passport's been flagged. Then we go through official channels. Get the FBI to... The FBI thinks she's dead, Mitchell said. By the time we convince them otherwise, she'll be gone. Sarah stood up. I'll go. Absolutely not, I said. She's my mother. She won't run from me. Not immediately. Sarah, this is dangerous. You heard her. She hurt Derek. She's not the person you thought she was. I know exactly who she is now, Sarah said. And that's why I have to do this. I helped create this mess. Let me help fix it. Friday morning, Sarah boarded a plane to Nassau. Mitchell had given her a wire and a panic button. The plan was simple. Find Linda, get her talking, record everything. I spent the day pacing my apartment, watching my phone. The FBI had called twice, wanting to discuss new developments in the case. I'd put them off, but I couldn't stall forever. At 4 p.m., Sarah texted, found her, hotel bar, going in, then nothing. An hour passed, then 2. I called Mitchell. Something's wrong. She should have checked in by now. Give it time. These things don't follow a schedule. But I knew Linda. If she suspected a trap, she wouldn't hesitate to protect herself, even from her own daughter. At 7 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown international number. Ian? Sarah's voice, but different. Scared. Sarah, where are you? She knows. She had people watching the airport. They grabbed me as soon as I got to the hotel. Are you hurt? No, but Ian. She's completely lost it. She's talking about starting over, creating new identities for both of us. She says we can be a real family now, without you or Derek holding us back. Let me talk to her. She's not here. She left me with some guy. Said she had to take care of loose ends. Sarah, you need to get out of there. I can't. They took my passport. And Ian, I think she's coming after you. What? She kept saying you'd never stop hunting her. That the only way to be truly free was to finish what she started. She has a plane ticket. Tonight. My blood ran cold. Linda was coming back. Not to turn herself in, but to ensure I couldn't testify against her. Sarah, listen carefully. Is the man watching you armed? I don't think so. He's just sitting by the door, playing on his phone. When I hang up, count to 30, then scream. Loud as you can. When he comes to check, hit him with something heavy and run. Get to the U.S. Embassy. Ian, do it now. I'll handle your mother. I hung up and immediately called 911. Told them my ex-girlfriend, who'd faked her death and framed me for unaliving, was on her way to unalive me. They thought I was crazy until I mentioned the FBI case. Then they took me very seriously. Within an hour, my apartment was full of federal agents. They'd confirmed Linda had boarded a flight from Nassau to Miami under another fake identity. From there, she'd catch a connection to my city. We'll have agents waiting at the airport, the lead agent assured me. But I knew Linda. She wouldn't walk into an obvious trap. My phone buzzed. Sarah, I'm out. At Embassy. They're helping. 1 worry down, 1 to go. The agents wanted to move me to a safe house, but I refused. If Linda was coming for me, I wanted to face her. End this, once and for all. They compromised by turning my apartment into a fortress. Agents in the hallway, the stairwell, the parking garage. Surveillance on every entrance. We waited. Midnight came and went. Linda's flight had landed hours ago, but there was no sign of her. The agents were getting restless. Maybe she spotted the surveillance, one suggested. Went to ground. But I knew better. Linda was too invested in her plan to give up now. She was out there, watching, waiting for an opening. At 2 a.m., the fire alarm went off. The building's system showed a fire on the 3rd floor. Protocol demanded evacuation, but the lead agent hesitated. Could be a diversion, he said. Or there could be an actual fire, another argued. They decided to send 2 agents to check while the rest stayed with me. Classic mistake, dividing their forces. That's when the power went out. Emergency lighting kicked in, casting everything in an eerie red glow. The agents drew their weapons, forming a protective circle around me. She's here, I said. A smoke grenade rolled through the doorway, then another. Within seconds, the apartment was full of thick, choking smoke. The agents tried to maintain formation, but the smoke was too dense. I heard shouts, confusion, the sound of bodies colliding in the dark. Then I felt the knife at my throat. Hello, Ian, Linda whispered in my ear. Miss me? She dragged me backward, away from the chaos. The agents were shouting, trying to find us in the smoke, but Linda knew my apartment better than they did. She pulled me into the bedroom, slammed the door. Just you and me now, she said, the way it should have been. Linda, you don't have to do this. Yes, I do. You took everything from me. My home, my dignity, my daughter. Now I'm taking your life. I didn't take Sarah. You drove her away with your lies. She'll come back. Once you're gone, she'll understand. We'll start fresh, just the two of us. She's the one who led us to you, Linda. She chose me over you. The knife pressed harder against my throat. You're lying. Check your phone. Check the embassy logs. Sarah's there right now, telling them everything. About the fraud, the fake death, Derek, everything. Linda's hand shook. For the first time since this all started, I saw uncertainty in her eyes. She wouldn't. She's my daughter. And I raised her, taught her right from wrong. Something you never did. The smoke was clearing now. I could hear the agents regrouping outside. It's over, Linda. Put the knife down. No, if I'm going down, you're coming with me. She raised the knife, ready to strike, but a decade of comfortable living had made her soft, slow. I grabbed her wrist, twisted hard. The knife clattered to the floor. We struggled, but it wasn't much of a fight. I had 6 inches and 50 pounds on her. Within seconds, I had her pinned. The agents burst in, weapons drawn. They pulled Linda off me, cuffed her. She was screaming now, all composure gone. He destroyed my life. He stole everything. He deserves to die. They dragged her out, still screaming. I sat on my bed, shaking. It was over, really over this time. Saturday morning, I gave my statement to the FBI. With Linda in custody and Sarah's recordings, the truth finally came out. The money laundering charges were dropped. The unaliving investigation closed. Derek was found in a Miami hospital, suffering from a massive OD but alive. He corroborated everything, eager to make a deal. Sarah flew back that afternoon. I met her at the airport. She looked exhausted but relieved. Thank you, I said. I'm the one who should be thanking you, she replied. You saved my life, in more ways than one. We drove in silence for a while. Then Sarah spoke again. I know I can't make up for how I treated you, but I'd like to try, if you'll let me. You already have, I said. You stood up for what was right. That's all I ever wanted. I got a job, she said. Entry level, but it's a start, and I'm going to pay you back. Every penny. You don't have to. Yes, I do. It's important. I need to earn my own way. I smiled. Maybe Linda had taught her something after all, just not what she'd intended. Sunday was quiet. No police, no lawyers, no drama. Just me in my apartment, trying to process everything that had happened. My business was gone, destroyed by the scandal. My reputation was in tatters, but I was free. Free from Linda's manipulation, from Sarah's disrespect, from Derek's incompetence. Free to start over. Mark called that evening. I heard about everything. I'm sorry. For what? For leaving Sarah when she needed me most. For believing the worst about your family. You did what you thought was right. No, I did what was easy. There's a difference. He paused. I'd like to try again. With Sarah, if she'll have me. That's between you two. I know, but I wanted your blessing. You're her real father after all. It was the first time anyone had said that without qualification. No, like a or practically. Just a simple acknowledgement of what I'd always been. You have it, I said. Monday morning, I met with a headhunter. Word had gotten out about what really happened. Several firms were interested in hiring me. Scandal and all. You stood up to a master manipulator and won, one CEO told me. That's the kind of strength we need. I took a position with a smaller firm. Less money, but more flexibility. A chance to rebuild on my own terms. Sarah started work the same day. She sent me a photo of her desk, proud of her tiny cubicle. We agreed to have dinner once a week. Nothing fancy, just a chance to build the relationship we should have had all along. Linda was denied bail. Her trial was set for next year. Her lawyer reached out about a plea deal, but I refused. She needed to face the consequences of her choices. Derek disappeared again, but this time, I didn't care. He wasn't my problem anymore. 3 months later, I got an unexpected call. The Carlsons wanted to meet. We owe you an apology, Mr. Carlson said over lunch. We judged you unfairly. You were protecting your son by believing the worst about a good man. That's not protection, that's prejudice. They offered to help rebuild my business, but I declined. I was done with other people's money, other people's expectations. Then let us at least do this, Mrs. Carlson said. Mark and Sarah want a small wedding, just family. We'd be honored if you'd walk her down the aisle. What about Derek? What about him? You're her father. You've earned that right. The wedding was perfect in its simplicity. 20 people in the Carlsons' backyard. Sarah wore her grandmother's dress. Mark looked nervous, but happy. As I walked her down the aisle, Sarah whispered, "Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for finally seeing me." I whispered back. I placed her hand in Mark's and stepped back. For the first time in over a decade, I knew exactly where I stood. Not in the shadows, not as an afterthought, but as a father who'd done his job. The reception was small, but joyful. No drama, no surprise guests, no power plays, just family celebrating love and second chances. As I watched Sarah dance with her husband, I realized Linda had been wrong about one thing. I hadn't been playing hero, I'd just been being a dad. The difference was, now everyone knew it, including me.